Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Godless Moms podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about Christmas, as you might be able to tell by our fancy headgear. And it's just going to be a lighthearted, fun one today because a few of our podcasts lately have been a little bit dark.
Yes, I will turn my antlers on. Apologies for my droopy antlers. Once you get to be over 50, your antlers start drooping. Sorry, people. It's just the truth.
It's true.
I got a little bit.
I mean,
of
I'm not
Christmas
over
cheer
50
here.
yet, but
I know
I'm
you're just a young'un. You know. But your time is coming.
I'm headed there.
Prepare for droopy antlers.
Well, antlers aside, how are you doing, Janice?
I'm doing pretty well. It's a beautiful day where I am. By the way, I do want to say we're joining everybody from the unceded traditional territory of the Seals people in the Okanagan Valley. And it's beautiful. And there's snow on the roofs and on the trees and a beautiful blue sky. So it's feeling very wintry festive.
Did I ever tell you that is like how I fell in love with the Okanagan? We came up here, we actually won a contest to go to a bridal fair in Kelowna, because John and I have been engaged forever.
Yeah, you're still engaged.
Yeah. And we went to this bridal fair and literally we gorged ourselves on free cupcakes, but we walked everywhere in the city in the middle of winter. It was in January. It was absolutely gorgeous because it was sunny, which it never is in the winter in Vancouver. Mm-hmm. And the hills were dusted with snow and there was people skating on the rink in front of the lake.
Oh.
And it was just
it was like magical. A Christmas card. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was absolutely magical. And I'm like, we have to live here. And so we did.
Our plan paid off. We got you to move here.
Well, I've been happy here. I usually get bored of, that's why I've, lived in Mexico and all kinds of different places, because I usually get bored after a few years, but I'm happy here. I love it.
Living in Vancouver, the wintertime just really stinks because it's like gray. The gray descends, like in November or whatever. It's the Rust Festival, and it does not stop raining and slushing until you're well into the new year. And I can remember in the wintertime standing out on Broadway in the dark, waiting for my bus in rush hour. And buses are zooming past. Yeah. They're just full of passengers. It's slushy. You're getting splashed with everything. People are cranky on those buses. They just want to get home. So, I got to say, I definitely am preferring the Okanagan life.
Yeah. Vancouver is, it's pretty much gross year round. I mean, it's pretty when you can catch a picture of Vancouver in the sun, which is very difficult. It's pretty to look at in pictures.
It's beautiful in the summertime.
But I don't like to be there.
As long as you don't have to drive anywhere. That's what, oh my gosh, that's what really gets me. I saw in our news that the people working so hard on the Coquihalla Highway they've almost got that thing repaired to the point that people will be able to drive on it. That's the highway that was so wiped out by all the flooding we had a little while ago.
Yeah, and I think that was our last podcast, right? We were talking about like global warming and I believe I said on the podcast that I don't think it's going to be fixed for like a year.
Yeah, and that's what I thought.
Whoops! They're going to open it in January. I can't even wrap my mind around that because, like, I think I said it too, that there was like no ground to even put the road on again. Like it's just. I don't know what they did.
Yeah.
These are magical people.
Take a trip and see. I don't like driving on the highway in the winter through the mountains. It just is too icy sometimes. Yep. That's one of the winter problems. But
I don't like it either, but I don't like going there. Well, I don't like going to the Lower Mainland really ever because it is gray all the time. Like you get sunny days in the Lower Mainland every once in a while, but most of the time it's gray and rainy, and it's just like, when you get like seasonal depressive disorder, sometimes it's like all year round in Vancouver. And
Yeah.
they
I
have that
have my
postcard.
satellite. I have it here. Oh, the postcard. Yep.
Yeah, the postcard where it says like Vancouver in the winter and Vancouver in the summer, and it's the same picture. It's just rainy.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I think my ex-husband actually, he's so thoughtful. He picked up a sad light for me, seasonal affective disorder light, so I can just sit it on my table sometimes when I just don't feel like I'm getting enough vitamin D, because it can be kind of cloudy and gray in the
Yeah.
Okanagan as well if you don't go up to Big White or up above the clouds there.
Mhm.
What
Yeah, it
about
kind of
for your
settles.
holidays? Do you guys do that? Do you do any skiing or any wintry stuff?
No, oddly enough, I grew up in Richmond, which is like, you know, a pretty short drive away from Whistler, which
Yeah.
is like world-class skiing. And the first time I ever went skiing was 2 years ago. I know. However,
Man,
however, in my parents' defense, I did get to move to Australia and learn to surf. So,
that's
um,
pretty good.
yeah. And it
Okay.
turns out I am not very good at skiing. So, that has not happened since. I have avoided that.
Yeah,
I can
I'm with you.
skate, but yeah, I don't.
I have a great Canadian wintertime story. My birthday is in February, so I'm a wintertime baby. And I think when I turned 18, and I'd been dating a guy for a couple years at the time, and I expected like a decent, nice gift, which I did not get. But I had said I wanted to try cross country skiing for my birthday. He
Mm.
thought that was lame, so instead he said, "We're going snowmobiling." I had never been snowmobiling before, I didn't know anything about it. So we drove way, way, way outside Kelowna up to this place called Postal Lake and rented the skidoo or snowmobile, however you like to call it. And it was quite snowy. Like the snow was up to your hips, very snowy. So we had a meal that we brought along or whatever. So we drive out to the middle of the romantic forest, and there's like nobody around, so we can just enjoy ourselves. Uh, and then when we were getting cold and decided it was time to go back, he's pulling on this is back when you had like a ripcord almost to start the thing, like your lawnmower. He's pulling on
Yeah.
it to start the snowmobile. It's not starting, it's not starting. He pulls it one too many times, the handle snaps off, and the cord just goes whip, 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 just goes winding around. So there we were, stuck out in the middle of the forest. And he's like, okay, we're going to have to start walking back. We'll have to follow our tracks. Then it starts snowing, so we can't see our tracks. And then people are going by on their snowmobiles, and we're like, hey, hey, and they're just waving back, hey. It was so terrible. And we finally, as it's like getting dark, we get back to the place. The guy is blaming us for breaking his snowmobile. And we finally get back to my boyfriend's place. And I'm so pissed by this point. I'm just so mad. I'm like, where's my real present? And he just gives me this bag, and it had this like squishy pillow. You would squeeze it and it would play happy birthday. And that was the birthday present that he got. That relationship did not last a lot longer.
Yeah, I should say.
Yeah, yeah, that's Canadian fun in the wintertime.
I've also never been snowmobiling, but I think I would like that if I go with like experienced people.
And
And
a newfangled
self-service.
snowmobile. Yeah, not something where the handle's gonna snap off and the cord's gonna go wrapping around. And you want to like a balaclava or something so your face
Yeah.
stays warm. But really, in the Okanagan and in British Columbia, what we have to watch out for is avalanches when
Yeah.
people are
Yeah.
doing snowmobiling. Got to really make sure you check whatever weather stations are telling you about the backcountry conditions.
Yeah. Yeah. We live right at the base of Giant's Head, so like literally right out my bedroom window back there you can see the mountain. So if there's ever an avalanche up there, we're first in line to get bowled over.
I guess I see people making comments and they're
Oh
saying
yeah.
happy holidays and happy
Oh
Saturnalia.
Look at
and
this one. Happy
celebrating Christmas.
Saturnalia, non-believer to Satanist to atheist over the last 24 months. Well, congratulations. And we're happy to have
Very
you
nicely
here.
done. Very nicely done. Didn't
And
even notice that.
yeah, so today we were going to talk about Christmas, and I know I put a little teaser in like the tweets and stuff like that, saying, asking if people think that there can be such a thing as secular Christmas. And my experience is, albeit probably very rare, but in the last, I'm 44, so it's been 43 Christmases.
What? Okay,
And
first of all, nobody's going to believe that you're 44 years old. You got a long time before your antlers start to droop.
And listen, it's these that hide all my crow's feet. That's why I wear my specs.
I
But
got those
anyway,
ears feet.
but yeah, every single one has been secular. And like, I get a crack out of the fact that growing up when I was a kid, I really didn't even know that it was supposed to be about Jesus. Like, for most of those years, I didn't even know who Jesus was. So, and
Yeah.
we celebrated the frick out of Christmas. Like you see my living room right now. That's what it's like
Merry
every
Christmas,
year.
Christmas.
It's very important to my family, and we've always had a lot of fun, and it has absolutely never, not once, ever had a single solitary thing to do with Jesus.
Wow. And did you grow up saying Merry Christmas? Even
I
though it
did,
was
yeah.
not about, wasn't religious at all. Yeah, you just felt fine saying it because that's what a lot of people say. I think now we're a lot more aware of other cultures around us and more inclined to say happy holidays. I was at a doctor the other day and he greeted his patients. He came out and just said season's greetings. I thought, yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah.
That's reasonable. I
Yeah,
can't
I don't.
imagine not having Jesus in Christmas your whole life when you were growing up. Like, how
Yeah.
liberating. How nice for you.
Yeah, it was neat. And I had religious family, like extended family, and we always got together with the extended family every Christmas, and even they, like, it was nothing about Jesus to them. Nothing to them. And like, I remember watching my cousins get baptized, and we were sitting in a Catholic church. I was freaked the fuck out because I didn't know what the hell was going on. I thought, like,
What is
but
happening?
some priest is trying to drown my cousin. But but Christmas was never ever related to religion in any way, shape, or form. And I
So,
didn't. It wasn't until I started dating John, who
mhm,
I'm with now, who is
mhm,
the father of my child, or my children.
mhm.
He It wasn't until I started dating him that I learned that people go to mass on Christmas Eve. Like, I didn't even know that.
They sure do. They sure do. And then also non-Catholic people, like Christians, will often go to a Christmas Eve service at their own church. So, did your folks, when you were little, was it all about Santa? Did you believe in Santa?
Yeah. And I have to say that I think that I've written about this a long, long time ago. I think I made a video about it a long, long time ago. But, a lot of people struggle with whether or not to tell their kids about Santa. And I am in the camp that, like, for me, it was just an immense lesson in critical thought when I figured it out on my own. And my parents did not, like, when I approached them and I said, this isn't adding up. Are you Santa? They were honest with me, right? And they were proud of me that I figured it out. And so I did the same thing with my kid, and he, used his critical thought to figure it out. So I think it's a good lesson in critical thought. I know that a lot of people don't like the idea of being dishonest with their kids, but I just got so much joy out of the whole Santa thing when I was a kid. I can't imagine my kids growing up without that. So
Yeah, we
that's what we did.
didn't. So I was quite religious, as you know, and when we had our children, um, so I taught them that whenever we were in a store or if we saw Santa anywhere, someone pretending to be Santa, that was actually just supposed to be a reminder of Saint Nicholas. who gave to the poor. Like everything had to be religious. Everything had to have a reason. And so Santa was never really a part of our holidays, but we still did things like stockings. And I think I might have told you this one time before when my oldest daughter was just turned 3, and we were living on the Bible college campus actually. And I went outside with her and I said, "We're going to find a magic pine cone, but only you can find it." And so she's like, "Ooh, ooh." And so she gets the pine cone. I said, "This is it. This is the one." Oh my goodness. Took it inside, and then I had her pour some water over it in the corner. Uh, and then she went to sleep. And the next morning, when she got up, there was a Christmas tree where the pine cone had been.
Oh,
And
that's
that
so
was
cute.
that was my most fun kind of precious non-religious Christmas thing. And partly I did it because I wanted to decorate it. I didn't want to have a 3-year-old trying to trying to decorate it. And then every year, so this was like in the early aughts and late 90s, and my husband at the time, he was a musician and he had these massive speaker stacks, and so I would wrap the speakers and lay them down in front of the tree so my kid couldn't get at the tree. um, but that's kind of how we handled things. And then yeah, church was a big part of it for sure.
I have these friends who they're Satanists, and they every Easter they have three of just the cutest little kids, and every Easter they get the kids to get mini eggs and bury them in the grass in their lawn, and then when they wake up, like the parents will sneak out in the night and put lollipops where they buried them. So when they wake up, there'll be like lollipops all over their lawn.
that
It's so cute. It's
that
such a
is
cute
very
tradition.
sweet. And then it's
Yeah.
like pin the horns on Baphomet or whatever thing they do. I don't know.
They in front of their house they had a big giant church pew. It was awesome. Like just it like how you have a bench sometimes in front of your house. Like it
Yeah.
looked like a bench, but it was a church pew, and it was awesome. And there was still
There
Bibles in it.
there's a winery out your way called the Blasted Church Winery, and it's actually on an old church site. And I think they did blast the church to erect the winery. But I just think that's great. I buy their wine just because I love the name of it.
Yeah, I think I've posted a few pictures of Blasted Church on the old Instagrams. But yeah,
Hmm.
we some of the strange, like we have some strange traditions, I think. Well, not strange, but like um last year a new one started, and it was, I
Oh,
can't remember who tweeted it to me, but somebody tweeted something to me and I just thought it was absolutely hilarious. And it was, somebody suggested that the day before Christmas Eve was Christmas Adam. So we decided that the meal for Christmas Adam needs to be ribs.
that is so good. Oh, that's funny.
So
I
we're
like it.
we're having ribs for Christmas Adam this year.
And in case our audience doesn't quite get that reference, of course, one of the stories in the Bible is about that's how God created Eve. He made Adam go into a deep sleep and then removed one of his ribs. And then created Eve out of it. Her
Yeah.
nickname could be McRib. I don't know, but I like Adam Eve. That's pretty clever. Oh, what about a nativity scene?
We never did that. Um that probably would have clued me in that it had something to do with Jesus.
But the nativity scene that I do now every year is like my favorite part of Christmas. So when I was still religious, a dear friend had gone to Costco and they were selling these white porcelain figurines of the nativity. So there's the three wise guys and Joseph and Mary and babe Jesus. And she gave me to these very reverently, and so for years I used them reverently. Now I use them as irreverently as possible, and I remove baby Jesus from the manger every year. And my daughter selects one of her gaming figurines that goes in the place of the baby Jesus. So it looks like Mary and Joseph and the three wise guys are just worshiping whatever the gaming figurine is that year. Good times.
I do every year. I do share during the month of December every day one variation of the Nativity from a collection of like
Yes.
memes and pictures that I've found
Yes.
around the internet. So
Those are
that's
just
my Nativity tradition.
oh yeah. I remember when I was living with roommates one year before I got married, and one of the roommates had a set up a nativity scene, but Joseph was missing, and so it's like a single mom, and then the donkey only had one ear, so it looked like a unicorn. So we just called it like a new age new age Christmas. But I love watching all those nativity clips that you put up, like the pictures, because they are so funny. People are creative.
Yeah, they are. And it's fun. I think it's fun to I don't know, you recognize the origins of the holiday and now you're having secular fun with it. So, some people think it's making fun of it and I don't feel that it's making fun of it so much as just pointing out that it's not real. And
Yeah.
that's you're just supposed to have fun with it. That's how I was raised. Is your Christmas is about family and fun and enjoying yourself, and that's what our focus has always been. And I know my parents put a lot of emphasis on gifts, but it was always about giving. So like
Mhm.
they really instilled in me and my brother, like we genuinely like my brother and I genuinely get more excited about what we're giving people than what we might be getting. And
Nice.
yeah, this year is no different. I have my whole closet is filled with stuff that I'm giving to people.
Christmas should be for everybody. Why can't it be Saturnalia or Festivus? I love the whole Festivus thing from Seinfeld. That's always a big
Yeah.
favorite for me. Why can't it just be about family and friends and food and just
Mhm.
enjoying one another? That's really the way I see it.
Yeah, well, we've been doing it for 44 years and it works. And
It's
my
working.
even my religious extended family, like I said before, it's secular for them too. I want to know though how like what was Christmas like when you were a kid growing up?
My parents were religious. They weren't as religious as I became when I was an adult.
Mhm.
Um, my my nice memory is creeping down the stairs on Christmas morning and hearing Christmas music on the record player on the hi-fi. Okay, that's what it's like when you're
Yeah.
this age. And it was like Bing Crosby
Oh,
Christmas
yeah.
stuff, and mom had come down early to put that on, and the tree was lit up, and there was the tinsel and the presents. We never had presents under the tree until on Christmas Eve. We could each bring down one present and open it. But then
Yeah.
on early Christmas morning, mom would come down and set up presents under the tree. But so we could open our stockings, which were my dad's work socks, like they were his knitted work socks that he wore.
Oh.
So I don't know how hygienic that is, but and it would have an orange and a pop from the pop shop, like a soda pop in a bottle, and maybe some lifesavers or a chocolate bar in there.
Aw.
At one time, I think we each got an Archie comic, which was really something. And then we had to wait till my dad was up and ready to go, and then we'd all have breakfast, and then we would come to the living room and someone would hand out the gifts. It was very orderly. So it'd either go youngest to oldest or oldest to youngest. And everybody had to just sit patiently while you're looking at the present and thinking, I want to open mine. And it was just very orderly from one person to the next. And that's pretty much how we did it when my kids were growing up. It was like an orderly, just a loving time, a nice time with each other. It wasn't crazy and overwhelming, but some people love the
Yeah.
craziness of it.
Yeah, we're a little crazy over here.
You're more than a little crazy.
We do We do the one gift thing on Christmas Eve too, but it's always jammies.
Oh, are they the
Yeah.
matching jammies?
No, we have too many picky people. I tried that once. It didn't go over well.
But do you buy
Um,
the jammies for everybody, or do they get to
y-
choose?
well, John gets to pick his, and I buy the rest.
That's reasonable. And
Yeah.
are his like Superman and Batman and Incredible Hulk?
No, they are
No.
navy blue, gray, or black.
Oh,
You
John.
got he's got to keep up his rock and roll reputation,
Oh,
okay?
that's true. How can I forget? Yeah, we've never done the jammies thing, and of course now my kids are grown, and I'm divorced from their dad. But so what Christmas looks like now is we'll do Christmas Eve at my daughter's home, and my their dad will be there, and I'm there, and my mom and my brother, any significant others that we have, and then Christmas morning for kind of a brunch thing. Everybody will come
Mhm.
over to my place and we'll play a game or two. My daughter has lots of games, and so just silly, fun things that don't take a lot of concentration. Maybe some cinnamon buns and some eggnog. Love us some eggnog. And just again a relaxing time with family.
Yeah.
Now that I don't have to do all the cooking, because I found that very stressful. You really
Mhm.
enjoy cooking, and John gets right in there with you. You guys do it together. But I
Mhm.
found for me, when it was all just dependent on me, it took the fun out of it. It was too
Yeah.
stressful. So I'm really enjoying myself now that I don't have to have those obligations.
Yeah. We have this year we have my brother here, and normally he's not here. And his daughter, who is turning
Yeah,
3 on the
so
29th,
much fun.
and his wife, who is Danish. And because she's Danish, like the traditions in Denmark, I guess, is to open gifts on Christmas Eve.
Yep.
So we're going to have Christmas Eve with them at their Airbnb on the lake, which is absolutely gorgeous.
Ooh la la.
And and we get to give my little niece her gifts and stuff like that. And then we'll probably have Christmas morning, just the 4 of us here, because I think my parents will probably go over to be with the little one, or I don't know. I don't know yet. Because if they're doing Christmas presents on Christmas Eve, maybe my parents will be here in the morning. Anyways, then they're all coming over here for dinner on Christmas Day, and I'm
Which will
making
be.
pizza. I'm making homemade pizza because
Ooh. Yum, yum.
because half of my family is vegan and half is not, and I want everybody to feel, like it's a special dinner for them, so everybody gets to pick their own toppings. And
Will there be pineapple available? All Canadians want to know.
well, my son loves pineapple on pizza,
Yes.
and I
All right.
I am not offended by it,
Oh,
so
good. Very good. Okay. We
perhaps
can keep
there will
hanging out.
be.
That's good. Yeah.
Yes. Although I like everything spicy on mine, but you know
Me
that
too.
already.
It's kind of scary. I'm afraid you're going to spontaneously combust one day from all that spice.
Oh, it's so yummy. Now I'm hungry. But yeah, it's very relaxed, and we like I think that's the best thing about it, is how relaxed everybody is, and how you don't have to think about work or anything really that's stressful. You just kind of let it all go and just enjoy each other. And we generally don't, like, we'll probably have, like, during the whole Christmas holidays, at some point we'll have like some kind of a binge fest, like usually Letterkenny. Have you watched Letterkenny?
No, but I know about it. I
Oh my
know
god,
about it.
you
Yeah.
have to watch it. It's so good. But usually they release a few episodes on Christmas Day, so we'll watch a couple of those. And there's always good Marvel stuff on Disney Plus, so we'll
What
watch that.
about like the Grinch, the traditional Grinch story and the reindeer, the abominable snowman? Do you ever watch those? Do you remember watching those when you were a kid?
Oh my gosh, those were like, I remember when I was little looking so for, because back when we were kids,
There were
like
two
every
channels, people.
yeah, there was 2 channels, and there was like everything was programmed, so you have to tune in at the right time to catch the
Right.
movie. So I would like plot out all the Christmas movies that were being shown, and my
Yeah.
favorite was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the
Didn't you
claymation
ever
one.
find it
Oh,
scary, that abominable snowman? He was scary to
yeah,
me when I was little.
I did find it a
Not
little bit
anymore.
scary, but I just loved
Still pretty
Christmas
fun.
movies so much because
Yeah,
that was the sign that Christmas was coming, right? Is when all the
that's right.
Christmas movies were on
That's right.
TV.
So what's a Christmas movie for you now?
Now we love Home Alone, and we always watch Die Hard. I know
I was
there's
gonna
a
say, I know Die Hard's gonna be in there. Mhm.
yeah, yeah. No, we consider Die Hard to be a Christmas movie for sure.
I like Elf. Elf
Oh yeah,
always
that's
makes
so
me laugh.
good.
That's like my
Yeah,
favorite Will Ferrell movie because he just does such a good job in it. And
yeah.
yeah, I like Elf,
And the classic Miracle on 34th Street. Oh.
which I have never seen.
You haven't? It's so
No.
good. You have to see it.
Okay, I'll put it on my list. I have watched It's a Wonderful Life. My
Yeah,
ex-husband, he loves that show, so we would watch
yeah.
that show every
I
Christmas, and it
like
was
that one
nice to
too.
see him get. He's not an emotional type person, but he would get a little bit teary with that one,
Yeah,
and I just thought that was really precious that it would mean so much to him. I thought it was like okay, but not the greatest thing.
yeah,
But I'll try that Miracle on 34th Street. That's what you
yeah.
said.
That was a good one. That was good.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then we'll usually have a couple of drinks. I haven't drank since my second shot. So no, since my first shot, COVID shot. So May. I haven't drank since May.
You'll let
So
yourself have a drink on Christmas or Christmas Eve?
it's gonna be a game time decision. I don't like the way that it makes me feel the next day, and I don't want to feel like crap on Christmas Day, but I
You
might.
you
I
sound
might have
like
a
you're
drink.
growing up.
Yeah, a little bit,
That's
a little bit.
yeah, it's learning not to do things in to excess. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. Well, for me, if I even just have one drink, I feel like crap the next day. So,
Hmm.
like, not like total crap. Like I don't have a hangover. I just my energy is down, and
Mm-hmm.
it gets in the way of there's a lot of things that I want to do and get done. And I mean, you're just like me. You have 1,000 projects on the go, and
It's crazy.
yeah,
And it must be exactly how I like it because it seems that that's always how it is. I just have so
yeah,
many things on the go at any one time, and my kids are like, why are you so busy? You're stressing yourself out. But so I get
yeah,
something from it, or I wouldn't keep doing it. I may
yeah,
take a few
same.
days off over the Christmas holidays. That's one thing that's really nice, finally, about working for myself and not being in an office kind of situation. I can
Hmm.
take off as much time as I want,
Yep.
but someone still has to pay the mortgage, so it won't be
Yeah.
as much time as I'd like.
What I usually do is because I get paid by the hour for what I do, and so the more projects people send my way, the more money I can make. So I try and get as much crammed into each day of December before Christmas as I possibly can, and then I take that week off so that my billing day at the end of the month is just as normal as it would be if I didn't take time off.
I
But it
don't know
does
if
keep
if
me
our
busy.
audience knows what you actually do besides your amazing writing that you do for
Well, I
the
just do
people.
writing usually. You're the only person. You are the only person for whom I do web design anymore.
Wow, thank
Yes.
you. My God, I'd be so lost without you too. That's holy cow. Oh, and you're so
Well,
patient
that's
with
why I
me.
do it for you because you need you
I
need
need special help.
not special help, but you just need most people don't know how to do that stuff. So it's I like doing it because I believe in the projects like conference on religious trauma and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I believe in it. That's why it has to get done. It has to get done right because I believe in it and I want to see it succeed. So
Thank you. And I do find this is a somewhat busy time of year for me as well because I am a counselor and I work with people who are recovering from religious trauma and religious trauma syndrome. And so Christmas time, holiday time, can just be really hard on them if their family members still believe.
Yeah.
And even if their family members don't, it's still, I remember the first couple of Christmases and Easters, especially after I realized that I didn't believe anymore. Those days were hard on me. They were
Mm-hmm.
sad. I felt like I was missing out this thing that had been so important to me. So it's helpful if people can have someone to talk to. And I'm fortunate enough to be that person that people talk
Yeah. I kind of felt that way a little bit after I realized that Santa wasn't real. But
to. Yeah.
it came back again when I had kids, that feeling. And it wasn't like for me, like it wasn't like devastating. It was just like, oh, well that sucks. Santa's
Yeah.
not real, you know?
Mhm.
But I can imagine that it is definitely a very difficult time for people who have left religion because I mean, for people who took, Christmas as a religious holiday, it was
Mhm.
completely tied up in the story of Jesus and all of that stuff, and it's like, well, what am I celebrating now, you know? But
Yeah. Hmm. We one thing we did when we were quite religious, and we didn't have any money. We were college students, Bible college students, and I would set up instead of buying an Advent calendar because we didn't have like a cheap store nearby like Walmart or whatever. So I would make an Advent calendar and I would just cut out from a magazine um, characters to represent characters in the nativity story. So each of the wise men, and maybe a sheep and a cow and Balthazar and whoever all these other people are. So that was one thing that I just remember that we used to do. And my daughter would, she'd get to stick it up, with tape on the back or whatever, stick it on the calendar each day, whatever day it was. And of course, we'd have her memorize all sorts of Bible verses and sing the Christmas songs from church. And so, yeah, that was all part of it. Oh, hi,
oh,
Lucy.
my son just came home from school with his report card. Dun
Oh,
dun
will
dun.
he get a lump of coal? Yes, we'll have to decide. Hey, did you do like reindeer droppings and Santa? Go outside and make like Santa tracks and reindeer tracks and all that stuff. Did you ever do that with your kids, or your parents do that?
No. No, I mean, our first Christmas, we've had a couple of Christmases in Mexico with the kids, and um we've just like we moved a lot um around, and so we lived in a lot of really small places that didn't really have like outdoor areas, like apartments and stuff like that, condos.
Mm-hmm.
um so we didn't really do any of that stuff, and my son figured out that Santa wasn't real. I can't even remember. I think it was when we moved into this house, but I think he knew before that. He just didn't tell us.
He
Um,
just he didn't want to disappoint you.
yeah, yeah.
When you were in
Uh,
Australia, was it about six white boomers and that whole thing?
yes. Oh my gosh, that song. We had to sing that song in class. I loved that song.
Yeah.
In Australia, that was the weirdest. And Mexico is kind of weird too, just because it's like when you grow up in Canada, like Christmas is supposed to be cold, and everybody's got scarves on, and
Yeah.
in Vancouver it didn't really snow, but here it snows and it's always a white Christmas. And in Australia, it's because it's right in the middle of their summer. So, I mean, Australia is hot to begin with, but this
Yeah.
is like the hottest day of the year is
So
Christmas.
Santa's wearing a Speedo.
I remember sitting on the beach. There's a little tiny Christmas tree because we all got together for a picnic on the beach, and there's this little tiny Christmas tree there. And this was right before Christmas because we were leaving Australia right before Christmas. And we were all like surfing and body surfing, and like we're all sitting there in our bathing suits with
It's
this, and it's
surreal.
literally like 40 degrees. Like, yeah, it's weird.
That's
And
so
then
hot.
I had Christmas in Hong Kong, and I've had Christmas in Hawaii a couple of times. I had Christmas in was it? Oh, Tahiti. I had Christmas in Tahiti once.
Oh, goodness. Well,
That that was
Melikimaka.
the coolest
Yeah,
because it
what's
was
it like in Tahiti?
Santa was this very skinny, dark-colored man who was on a canoe. He came in an outrigger canoe with an umbrella, and he didn't have like the beard or anything, but he like his Santa suit was just hanging off of him because he was so skinny. It was amazing, and there was the Polynesian dancers all around and stuff like that, and we laced up this popcorn, and like berries, and put them and hibiscus flowers all around this tree and stuff like that. And then later we went snorkeling. Yeah.
That sounds like so much fun.
It
I
was.
want to do that.
It was
I
fun.
like Christmas in Hawaii. I like the palm trees being all wrapped in the lights, and
Yeah.
it's just such a very different feeling, and it's pretty cool to be able to go snorkeling
Yeah.
at Christmas time. Like, that's amazing. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it was
kind of
awesome.
fun to have different experiences there.
Hong Kong was cool too. It was in Hong Kong everything is smaller because they have so little space.
Hmm.
And so your hotel room is like the size of a closet, and like I'm not even joking. Like you roll out of bed and you're in the bathroom. And it's like my parents we woke up on Christmas morning, and my parents like gifted us just a few little things because we were on our way to living in Australia, so we couldn't like carry lots of presents and stuff like that. We had to kind of minimize our luggage, so we got very few gifts, but we didn't care. We went out and we hung out in the streets of like a street market in Hong Kong for a little bit, and then we flew to Bangkok that day. And on the plane, I remember they upgraded us to first class because there was hardly anybody in
Oh
there,
my
and they
gosh.
they gave my brother and I like these big stockings filled with like toys and stuff, and they gave us hamburgers with M&Ms, and oh, it was awesome. It was a good Christmas.
Sweet. That
Yeah,
sounds pretty fun. That's
it
very
was. It was
cool.
fun.
So,
Yeah.
do you remember, was Hong Kong done up at all for
Oh
Christmas?
yeah, very Christmassy in Hong Kong. Yeah, they uh they go all out. There's a lot of money in Hong Kong, so they
And it was
definitely
still
go
under British control at that time.
at the time. Yeah, it was. So I don't know if it
Mhm.
still is very Christmassy.
Mm.
I'd
Have
be
you
interested
seen
to know.
that picture? Somebody took it of a window display, and I can't remember. I'm sorry, I can't remember. Was it in an Asian country, so not a Western country? And so the Christmas display had Santa, but he's like on a cross. Have you seen that? So they're like trying to
I think that was
combine.
Japan. Yeah.
It was so it was just so crazy. But I mean, the whole
Yeah.
thing is crazy when you think about it. So
Yeah.
very
And let's
interesting.
face it, we do that stuff to their culture here.
Yes, because we
Yeah.
just don't know. Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
true. I
Yeah,
see.
like you go into a Japanese restaurant and like, there's all kinds of things that are just like our white people version.
Exactly. Exactly. I see that BC Stargazer recommended the film Scrooged with Bill Murray. I remember seeing
Oh
that. I remember
yeah, that's
seeing
a
that
good
in the
one.
theater. That's a
I
very fun
love Bill
one.
Murray.
Oh
That is a
yeah,
good one.
that's great. Um, did you hear that in again? It might be Japan again, but their Christmas dinner is always Kentucky Fried Chicken.
No. That's weird.
Yes, and pardon me if it's not Japan, but it's either Japan or China. But the meal is Kentucky Fried Chicken. I found that so interesting. It's just like a tradition that's developed there, a popular kind of thing. So maybe
That's
one day I'll get to be over there for Christmas and I'll get to see it for myself.
Oh, I would love to go to Japan so much. It's the home of
That's one
ramen
place
after
you've
all.
never been.
It
Say
is
that
one
again.
place I have not been. I there's a lot of places I haven't been. Like I haven't been to Africa at all, anywhere on Africa or South America or Europe. So lots of places I haven't been.
Oh.
But I have been all over Asia, except for Japan,
Well,
which, you know.
maybe on a book tour, my friend.
One day. One day. Oh, yeah, that's true. BC Stargazer says that Chinese food restaurants are open on Christmas Eve and Christmas. That actually is a tradition of some people that I know. Families will go for Chinese food on Christmas Day. And
Mm-hmm.
it's because they, the people running the restaurant sometimes are just not they just don't celebrate Christmas. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I bet there's a lot of business to be had on those days for people who don't feel like doing the cooking and yeah, making up their own tradition of going for Chinese food. I think that's great.
yeah,
That's really
our
cool.
our our good Chinese food restaurant closes in the winter because
Oh,
out here in the Okanagan, a lot of things close in the winter because there's just
yes,
not enough
the
business.
tourist base is gone.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
and also Mondays and Sundays. Is it the same in Kelowna?
I don't I don't think so. In Kelowna, when they're open, they're pretty much open 7 days a week. But we have a lot of shops now downtown that are closed, like ice cream stores and things like that, where people would in the summertime be hanging out downtown and they'd
Yeah.
want those treats, but they're not as likely to be wanting them at this point when it's so cold.
Mm.
And it's not even too cold here. We haven't had super cold. I think maybe one night we got down to minus 15 or something, but not. When I lived on the prairies, it would be like cold. There'd be warnings about exposed flesh will freeze in 3.5 seconds. Don't send your children outside. But it was always very sunny.
Yeah. Yeah, I just found out that my brother's moving to Calgary, so he's gonna.
Calgary.
It's impossible to find housing here. It's just impossible. It's not a, and I mean, he's money is not a problem for him. So
There's just
even
not
despite
availability.
there's
Wow.
nothing, and you have to like if something comes up for sale, you have to outbid everybody else, and they're selling
People are
for
bidding sight unseen. It is
yeah,
nuts here.
and
Yeah.
and their property selling for $100,000 over asking, like sight unseen.
Mm-mm-mm. That's really
Yeah,
something.
it's hard to compete in that.
I don't mind Calgary for. I really am not a fan of the prairie provinces. Just my. I prefer BC, of course, because I'm a BC girl. But Calgary was okay. There was
Yeah.
lots to do there, and some. You know, you're near the mountains, and so. Well, I
Hmm.
hope he's happy there.
He will be. He's a vegan. He says there's lots of vegan restaurants, so not a whole lot here.
I would think in Calgary, in Alberta, there'd be like a lot of beef restaurants. But yeah, it's a
Right?
big
Me
enough
too.
city that there's a lot of vegan stuff.
No, my brother said like in all of I think in all of Canada, it's got the most vegan restaurants like per capita or whatever.
It's the blowback. It's all the kids who grew up with their rancher dads, maybe making them have beef at every meal.
Well, there's also a lot of transplants from other cities like Vancouver and Toronto in Calgary nowadays. So it's not so conservative as like Edmonton is, for instance. But
Okay. Yes, I have lived there as well.
yeah.
I've lived in all the
You've
prairies, it feels like.
yeah. I don't think I could do I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could do like 20 below. The coldest I've ever been in is 18 below, and that was no thank you.
Oh, it was
Checking out.
for sure minus 35 sometimes on when I lived in Saskatchewan. Yeah, just terribly, terribly cold. That's why everyone plugs in their vehicle. And I remember, I remember one morning, and it's dark still, like it's early in the morning, and I keep hearing this, vroom, 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 and I'm like, what the heck is that? And then I was walking with my daughter across the street, and some guy comes whipping by, comes out of a ditch and like over top of us on his snowmobile. And I didn't know because we had never lived in this tiny town before that it was like snowmobile fest for the next 2 days or whatever it was. So we had to watch out for all the rogue snowmobiles. Lucy. I think she's
She's
saying.
just yelling at me. Where is
singing a
she?
Christmas song.
She wants to be on the podcast.
Funny
Lizzie,
girl.
shush.
I can't believe she listened to you when you just said shush. That's pretty good.
Well, usually I feed her around this time, and it is because we usually do this at 1, so I usually feed her around this time, and if I am even a minute late, she lets me know.
Oh, she
How
does.
dare you?
That's right. Here comes Steve. Hello, Steve. Are you going to be noisy like Lucy? No?
Aww. Do you put out stockings for Steve?
I don't, but we have 2 cats. We have Steve and Casanova, and my daughter loves to give them gifts. She gives them gifts all the
Aww.
time, but I know at Christmas she also will probably give them something. Do you give Lucy presents at Christmas?
Oh yeah, she gets her own
Oh.
stocking, and she usually gets some kind of a treat or something like that. So, of
How does
course.
she do when you have a house full of people? Does she retreat to a bedroom and it's too many people, or does she like having all the people around?
Oh no, she absolutely has to be right in the center. And for like the first like 5 minutes, she will just bark if you're not paying sole attention to her. So, yeah. She's
Oh
uh
boy.
she's quite the personality, but we love
Oh,
her.
pets make
Yeah,
life better.
they do. They do. See, if I stop petting her right now, she'll start barking at me.
Then we'll hear.
Yeah.
Then we'll hear about it again. Oh.
So, what are your plans for this Christmas?
I will be staying close to home. As you know, I have so much going on, so many things that I'm planning, very exciting things for the new year, for the formerly religious community, different conferences, and so forth. Um, so I'm going to be staying pretty close to home as I'm figuring those things out, and
Mm.
just relaxing with my kids and looking forward to my significant other coming out here. He'll be out here in January from Mississippi, so it's quite a trip for him. So yeah, just enjoying doing some planning around that. It'll be a quiet Christmas for us.
Cool. And so since you've left religion, you feel no, like you still love Christmas and everything like that.
Yes, I do. And yeah, I'm able to listen to Christmas music without any trouble. You know, when I'm doing my Christmas baking, I'm in the kitchen with Alexa on. I'm singing along to the Christmas tunes, and it doesn't spark that sadness that it used to for me. I'm able to
Oh, that's
just
good.
enjoy it. And if my mom, who's elderly, if she were to ask me to take her to a Christmas service or something, I'd be inclined to do it just as a
Yeah.
nice gesture for her, and I wouldn't feel like it had anything to do with me at all. It
Yeah.
would just be a kindness that I'd be offering my mother. But she's in her 80s. She's not interested in staying up very late or listening to anybody preach.
Yeah.
So lucky
I
for
think
me.
I've been asked before if somebody asked me to go. Well, yeah, cuz John he had Abby with his ex, and his
Mhm.
ex used to go to Christmas mass, and he would, or she would be very adamant about everybody going on Christmas Eve, and so he would go to Christmas mass with her. And so he asked me at one point if anybody asked me would I go, and I said absolutely under no circumstances would I ever be dragged into Christmas mass on Christmas Eve, because and it's only because Christmas Eve is so important to me and my family, and it would take me away from that.
Yes.
um if my whole entire family turned on me and said we're going to Christmas mass, then yeah, maybe. But I wouldn't, because that would never happen.
One thing that I've found can be helpful if a person finds themselves uncomfortably in a situation with very religious people and it's become a really heavy conversation and Jesus this and God that, if you could just substitute the words Jesus and God for like leprechaun king or unicorn king or whatever, I mean, it just can give you some space emotionally so that it
Yeah.
doesn't feel quite so heavy. Because I mean,
Yeah.
it's not about you. It's their fantasy.
Yeah.
that they're completely involved in. You don't have to be involved in their fantasies. So,
My personal favorite alternative to Jesus is cheeses. Jesus crust.
Jesus Christ! Oh, that's good. I may have to
I
get
mean, my
that T-shirt.
entire diet consists of cheese and carbs, and like my friend from grade 6, Carrie, if you're watching, it's a joke. Like, she knows cheese and carbs. This is my diet, cheese and carbs, and this is why I have saddlebags and a large bum. It's because it's cheese and carbs. So cheese's crust is literally the thing that I worship. Cheese's
Mm,
crust. Praise
yeah.
cheeses.
If you ever do set up a nativity, it'll be
Cheese.
Jesus.
It'll be cheese.
Uh,
And I have the
well,
T-shirt in my shop on godlessmom.com. It says "Praise Jesus," and the cheese wedges are like glowing with like a holy
oh,
glow. You know.
I like it. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds good. Well, I hope everybody that's joined in today is going to do something fun, something that makes them happy over these holidays. Doesn't have to look like anything that anybody else does, just for you.
Yeah, that's the greatest thing about a secular holiday, or secular, whether it's Christmas, Saturnalia, or Hanukkah, or whatever you want to celebrate. The greatest thing
Christmas.
about making it secular is you're not blaspheming anybody if you change the rules a little bit, switch it up, and make the tradition a little bit yours.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just have fun. And if you don't like calling it Christmas too, which I understand, like, I get that people who maybe have just freshly left religion or something like that may um not be fully comfortable with celebrating Christmas. But
Or maybe they're from a different culture altogether.
yeah, and they're maybe they were brought up celebrating Hanukkah, and that's
Mm-hmm.
the holiday that matters the most
Mm-hmm.
to them. There's nothing wrong with celebrating these things in a secular way, and that is the way the world is headed. I think by the time our kids are adults, my kids are adults, then things are going to be a lot different, and these holidays are going to be almost completely secular. So
Mm-hmm.
just relax, do what you want, celebrate what you want.
Roll with it. I like it.
Yeah.
Praise
Yeah.
Jesus.
Praise Jesus.
That's so good. Oh boy, oh boy.
Well, with that, we should probably sign off. I have a dog who's about to start barking at me again.
What? Lucy. Is it short for Lucifer?
Yeah, Lucy Fur. Actually, it was when we got her as a puppy, I posted the picture of her on Instagram, and I asked my Instagram followers for suggestions for names, and someone said Lucy. Well, I think about 30 people said Lucifer, so we're like, that's so great. So we
That's
went with
very
Lucifer.
sweet.
She
Oh,
was the
she's
cutest puppy that ever existed on the planet.
well, she's pretty cute now, so
She is. She's my
very
baby.
yeah, for a baby.
All right. Well, that was a good one. That was a fun one. That was better than some of the ones we've had lately. I mean,
Yeah,
not better. Not
lighthearted.
better, but yeah, more happy.
Yeah.
So yes, I was going to suggest that we reconvene the podcast in January to give us some time off. So you can focus on your projects, and yeah, so we will be back in January. I'm not sure which date, but if you're following me on Twitter or Janice on Twitter, you will get updates on that.
Yeah, and send us your ideas. What would you like us to cover? We'd be interested in that.
BC Stargazer said, that concludes our broadcasting day. Please stand for the national anthem. I don't do national anthems. Hey, John. This is not my John, but this is a John that I know. Hi, and have happy holidays to you too. I hope you're enjoying your holidays. And that, oh gosh, with Omicron coming,
Yeah,
that's
let's not
scary.
talk
But
about
anyways,
it.
no, let's leave on a happy note.
Yeah, we can just say seasonal felicitations, because that's always
Yes.
such a happy greeting.
Reasons greetings.
Oh, reasons greetings. That's even better.
Yeah.
Take care, everyone.
Yeah. Bye.